Hello everybody and welcome back for those turning back, and welcome to those who are just tuning in watching new. So today I'm going to talk to you about renting DVC points. And what is DVC is the first question. So DVC is the Disney Vacation Club, and what that is basically Disney's timeshare. So that the majority of the resorts, they have timeshares, and those are exclusive for Disney. You have to usually purchase them through Disney, or you can buy them resale, but the resales now do not come with some of the perks. Like there's a DVC discount, and there's sometimes certain special parties that you can get into that's exclusive for DVC members. So if you buy resale, you're not going to get some of those perks. So if you're interested in buying, just want to pay attention to that and be sure that you know what you're getting as a package. So a DVC room, there's a few different types of rooms. So there's a studio, which is the smallest room, and that generally sleeps up to 5, and that's going to be a queen bed and a pull-out sofa that is a bed, and then you usually have a small kitchenette, and then you're gonna have your bathroom with your shower and everything. So it's a smaller room, but it's at the DVC level, so it's a little bit higher grade than your moderate resorts. So all the DVCs are at a deluxe resort. So the next room up is a 1-bedroom villa. So that consists of the bedroom that has, I believe it's a king bed, and then there's another room that's added to that, and that is going to have a pull-out mattress and usually like a couch and a desk, and then you're gonna have a full kitchen, and that has like a stove, and you're gonna have silverware and your refrigerator and everything. And then there's the bathroom, usually has the shower and then the toilet, and then the bedroom itself will usually have a big tub, like a jacuzzi tub, and I can't remember, I think the toilet is shared between the rooms. It's been a little bit since I stayed in a villa, but and then some of them are different too, like the studio rooms actually have 2 showers in them, so they kind of vary. You have to pay attention. And like Bailey Tower doesn't have the kitchenette, so they kind of vary too. After the 1-bedroom is a 2-bedroom, so it's basically like two of the it's gonna be like the studio combined with the 1-bedroom. And then at certain locations, not all of them, like the Grand Floridian, I think there's a couple at Beach Club, and there's only a couple at the Boardwalk, and there's a few at the Wilderness, is your Grand Villas, which are giant. I think they sleep up to 12 or 14. And those are just like ginormous and crazy, outrageously priced. But anyways, you usually those are, you can still book one of those rooms through Disney, but it's gonna cost you a lot because they're higher end, and they want to keep it more exclusively for DVC, so they're more expensive. DVC, you use your points in order to rent that. You buy a certain amount of points that you think you're going to use through the year, and you buy them at the time you think you're going to use them. So you buy what you think you're going to use in the year, and then you can always bank your points and save them up for another year, but I'm not going to get into that now. That's another discussion. So this trip in September, we were going to try to keep on the cheap side, but my mom ended up deciding to come with me, and we were looking about maybe thinking of waiting for the fall sales to come out, And then I kind of kept seeing, like on the Facebook groups, a bunch of postings about people renting DVC points and saving a bunch of money. And I had never heard of this before. I didn't know that it was something that you could do. I thought, you know, once you had your points, you kind of had to keep them or use them. You know, like you can have extended family members use them, or like friends or something, and you just have to set up the reservations. So I looked into it, and one of the first pages that popped up was called the dvcrentalstore.com. And I looked into it, and we were almost at the 7 months. I was looking in the end of January, and it was when I looked up the points. We first originally wanted to stay at the Boardwalk because that's right next to Epcot for food and wine, and that's kind of the main point of the trip, is for food and wine. And we really love the Boardwalk Resort because it's very closely located to two parks. So we looked it up, and it was going to be like way cheap to stay there. We were going to be able to stay there for like $750 for the 5 days. So I was like, oh well, let's go do this. So my mom's like, well, make sure you look into it, and you know, we're not giving them our money and, you know, going to be ripped off. So I looked into it, and they seemed to have a lot of good reviews on their page and their Facebook page. And they have on their website, they're accredited by the Better Business Bureau. So everything looked very legit. So I went ahead and asked them to find availability. And you go and fill out this sheet on their website. You don't have to pay a deposit or anything until they find you a room. So we wanted to stay in a studio because that's the smallest. We don't need a huge room, and we wanted to stay at the Boardwalk, and I filled in like a couple other places too, like that are in that area. I think I put in for the Beach Club. Saratoga is pretty close, but not really that close. And I put in for a couple, I think the Wilderness maybe, because it's just my favorite resort. Just seeing if there was really anything available. And they came back at me a little while later and said that there was availability at the Boardwalk, but it was a preferred view, which was fine. It was like a little bit extra. I think it was going to be like $900 for us to stay there, which split between us still wasn't that bad. So I said, yeah, go ahead and get that room. So that was the point where I had to pay a deposit down, which is $100. And I thought pretty much after that I was like pretty much booked, and through this site you could pay payments. And so I was expecting to hear back, and it was like a week later, and the lady emailed me. It was like, oh, we lost 2 dates on it, so you guys lost the room. And it's like, okay, well, I thought you put in for it, like, why didn't we get it? It was like supposed to be put in for over a week ago now. So I was kind of irritated with that, considering that there was pretty much the only availability left at the Boardwalk. So we lost out on that. So I asked her pretty much what was available for the dates that we chose. And she came back at me with some of the monorail resorts, Saratoga, Old Key West, the ones that don't really fill up as much. And so we decided to go for the Poly. So I was pretty excited about it. And we put in for the Poly, and it was like another week later she came back. We lost a date. So I'm like, what the heck at this point? So she came back at me with what was available, and the Bay Lake Tower was available. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to try to get this. And I think that one was even more. I think we were up to like $1,200 at this point. So we put in for that because it ended up being Lakeview, so that's a little more expensive. So I put in for that, and it was 2 weeks later, and in the meantime I emailed her in between and be like, hey, I haven't heard anything from you, what's going on? And she's like, oh, we're still waiting to find somebody to accept the points. it's like, it doesn't seem like it should take this long if you have people lined up for it. If you have people, then they should be taking those points. It's not like it's a whole lot. So in the meantime, I kind of was a little fed up, so I ended up looking around, and I looked at some of the I was looking at room walkthrough videos, and David's Rentals came up, and they do a lot of resort walkthrough videos of like the rooms and stuff. And so I was like, I wonder what that site's like. So I looked it up, and you had to pay a $105 deposit to begin with to even look at availability. But if they don't find anything that you like, then you can get your $105 back. And the only other thing was that you had to pay totally up front. Once they got the reservation booked, you had to pay everything up front, which was kind of alright because, you know, taxes were going to be coming out soon. So so I ended up putting a request from them before I even heard back from DVC Rental Store, and they said that you would hear from them within 24 hours if you got anything booked. So I was like, oh wow, that's cool. That's a lot better than what I've been dealing with now. So it was probably like 12 hours later. It wasn't even 24. They came back at me, and within that time period, the DVC Rental Store came back at me, and they said that Bay Lake Tower was, we had lost a day on that again. So I held off on telling her what we wanted to do to try next for a resort. It was pretty much the only thing they had left at that point through them. They were saying Old Key West or Saratoga, which is pretty much the farthest away DVC that you can get. So in the meantime, at David's, they came back and said that Boardwalk was unavailable, which is what I had requested, but they came back at me with what was available, and Bay Lake Tower was still available. So I put in for that, and I want to say like the next day, maybe like 8 to 10 hours later, they got back to me and said that one of the days was lost. So they came back and asked if we wanted to do any other resort, and what was available was Animal Kingdom with a Savannah view, Saratoga with a preferred view or regular view, Old Key West. I think that was it at that point. So we were gonna go with Saratoga because that was kind of in the Epcot area, but my mom has always wanted to stay at Animal Kingdom, and especially with the Savannah view, so I was like, okay, let's try that. And it was $900, so it was about the same price as what we were gonna pay at Boardwalk, so it was pretty good. Saratoga ended up being a lot less, I guess $700, but I figured pay the extra for the view because I heard it was really awesome. And probably after I did that is maybe the next day again, because they had to put in a new request, so within 24 hours they're supposed to be able to book the room. They came back at me and said that there's been 24 hours and they hadn't been able to find any of their people to get the points from. So they asked if I wanted to be waitlisted, and I said yes. So waitlisted, or I could try one of the other resorts, but I said that I'd be waitlisted. So it was probably, I don't even think it was the next day, it was maybe like later on that night, because I was really surprised to get the email. I got the email that said that we got the room. So we were totally booked. We got the confirmation number right there, and you just had to pay the rest. So you had to pay the $105 deposit, so that gets taken off of your total. So I had to pay another, it was $700 and something to make up the difference because it was $900 total. So then what I did was took my reservation number and I went to my Disney Experience, and I typed in the reservation number and I linked it with everything. And then when we book our flights, because it's booked, the room is booked through the people that own the DVC and with our names, I have to get a hold of David's Rental again and just tell them our flight numbers so that we can get our Magical Express luggage tags. And then I'm not quite sure, when I was looking at the other place, they said that you had to get a hold of them for your Magic Bands, but because I had already linked everything to my Disney Experience, it's already let me set up the Magic Bands, so I think the Magic Bands are all set and they're just going to come right to me because it's all set up with my address and everything. And we're buying our tickets right through Disney, so because we both have the Disney Visa, so we're going to buy our own tickets through there. But it was so much better experience through David's Rentals, so I highly recommend them. I'm not sure if it was just the particular person that I was working with through the DVC rental store that I was having problems with. She wouldn't get a hold of me until like 9 or 10 o'clock at night, so I don't know if there was like a time zone difference, but like when I filled out the form online, it asked me like what zone I was in, so you would think that they would have matched me up to somebody that was like in my correct time zone. And that was like really weird, and it took so long for them to get back to me, and it just wasn't really that great of experience. Not really, knocking on the whole company, just saying that the experience I had wasn't the greatest. I don't know if they're starting to go downhill, just can't find people for the points or something, but my experience through David's was 100 million times better. I mean, from beginning to end, I think it was max 3 or 4 days that I had, it had to have been 3 days, that I had a reservation booked with reservation number and everything. So yeah, it kind of stinks that you have to put all the money up front, but that's kind of how it is. If you want that, I mean, you're getting a major discount. The room that we booked, we're at Kidani Village, and that room with the Savannah View is usually like $450 a night for that time of year, and we're paying $900 for a 5-day stay. So you kind of have to, there's a huge difference there price-wise, so we're saving a lot of money doing that. And that was my experience with DVC points. I highly recommend David's. They're great to work with. When you email them, it kind of, I don't know if it goes into like a pool, but every time I got an email back, it was usually from somebody different. So they were like all working together to try to get you somewhere. And which I think was kind of great, because you know that it's like a whole team that's really working with you to try to get you into that room as fast as possible. It's great that they do the 24-hour guarantee. If they don't find you anything, you can get your deposit back. I think it was a really great experience overall, and I highly recommend them. Definitely a thumbs up here. And that's pretty much my experience with renting DVC points. We'll see how everything goes when we go in September, but so far everything's been great. So and actually we decided to go down a day early, so I think I'm going to go and try to contact David and see if we can add another day on. I'm going to try to get into the Poly or Bay Lake Tower for one night. We'll see how that goes, because those usually book up pretty fast. Oh, also another tip. People whose home resorts can start booking at 11 months out, and then all of DVC can start booking at 7 months out. So if you're trying to get into like a very popular resort, like the monorail resorts or Boardwalk and the Beach Club are very popular during Food and Wine time, I highly suggest doing it 11 months out. I didn't know about the DVC rental until we were almost 7 months out. So it was that little bit of time. It's going to cost you a little bit more to do it at 11 months than it is 7 months, but you have an increased chance of actually getting the room at the resort you want if you do it 11 months out. So just a tip there. And you can also go to David's. I can put a link below, and they have a lot of great information on there, a lot of frequently asked questions about their website and the whole process. So there's a lot of great information on there. And it's a really secure site that you can actually pay through PayPal. If you feel like it's not secure, you don't want to put your credit card on there, I feel like it is secure, but you can also use PayPal, which is what I usually do anyways, because it's just easier for me to use PayPal. But okay, so that's the end of this video. Hope to get it up soon for you guys, and then we'll be making another video soon. I have some new ears that are coming on the way that I just purchased from Etsy, so I want to do a review on that. And we're talking about possibly getting a new mattress, so could be an unboxing video for that soon too. Alright guys, that's it for now, and I'll see you later. And I think at the end of the video we're going to start saying kwaherini, which in Swahili means go well, because we don't like to say goodbye. So, and if you know what ride that's from, leave a comment below. So, kwaherini everybody, bye!